The leaders of Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda and Uganda have said that the M23 rebels who have seized the Congolese town of Goma must pull out immediately. The leaders of the three countries met in Kampala yesterday in an effort to find a solution to the conflict. On the other hand, M23 spokesperson Vianney Kazarama has demanded that President Joseph Kabila leave power, alleging that he was not legitimately elected and that he's not the winner of a hotly disputed presidential election in the war-torn country last year. For more on this, then, we're on the line to Professor David Moore, Professor of Development Studies at the University of Johannesburg. Professor Moore, good morning.
Good morning, Kalani. Nice to talk to you again.
Thanks indeed for your time. Well, I saw some dramatic pictures yesterday on TV of the rebels moving into Goma and people warmly welcoming them. Is it possible that the demand by the leaders of the Congo, Rwanda and Uganda perhaps may just fall on deaf ears because people apparently welcome the rebels?
Well, I think they might fall on deaf ears, but it may not because people welcome them. I think one person was interviewed saying, well, we really don't have a choice, do we? We should welcome the people who are coming to rule us. So we see the same sort of thing. It was happening back in 96, 97 when Laurent Kabila came in through Goma, backed by Rwanda, and started the wave into Kinshasa. And these M23 people are saying, we're going to go to Kinshasa.
And can they go to Kinshasa?
Well, it's possible. But of course, as you said, the governments of Rwanda and Uganda and Congo are saying no. But in the past, we haven't seen, we've seen a few bits of verbal agreement here, but we don't see too much. Rwanda is clearly backing the M23, and Uganda is doing so in more subtle ways. But I think really the internal dynamics are important. I mean, the M23 is made up of rebels from the Congolese army who, way back in March or something like that, weren't getting promotions. So they pull away and they grab up lots of militias, and there are various forces circling around there all the time. And they do make opportunistic alliances with whoever will help them from the outside, but it's not as if they are puppets on a string.
Sure, but also and the point I was making earlier on is really about the support in Goma and in the DRC, because also there were police officers signing up and handing them their weapons, and I just wondered whether it means that perhaps they have some support within the local population.
Yeah, the Congolese people, especially in the east, but all over, are quite disenchanted with Kabila's inability to get things together. So it seems, we're almost back into a situation like the mid-1990s when Mobutu was on his way out. So, yeah, there's a lot of discontent, and that can be picked up. And I suppose if you have, some leaders of this new army with good public relations abilities, you will get some support. But again, if we look at these UN reports, which have been coming out since May, I mean, this is not unexpected. Nothing's unexpected here. You have child soldiers, you have rapes, you have some of these leaders of the M23 wanted by the ICC for crimes against humanity. One of their leaders is called the Terminator. So we're going to have a dialectic here of people being upset, but I think basically coercion rather than consent is the main tool here.
Just again looking at the dynamics here, naturally there would be people who are unhappy with President Kabila within the DRC, but what is in this for Rwanda and Uganda? Why would they support the M23 rebels?
Well, there is the usual discourse of security. The Congolese army, which again is in a real mess, it was never really patched up properly, going way back to when the Sun City agreements created the momentum up until the elections of 2006 and so on. The problem of the Interahamwe has not been solved. So Rwanda can always say, look, until you guys in the Congo get rid of the threat, we will support rebels and we will keep harassing you. But of course, on the other side is the incredible mineral wealth, from diamonds to coltan, which is in all of our cell phones, and that, of course, is offering the material incentive for various forces, from the militias right up to to some of the leaders and especially military leaders in the neighboring states.
Now, the involvement of the international community here, tell me a little bit about it, because you have a situation where interested parties are asked to settle this matter. You have both three countries who are alleged to be involved asked to settle this matter. Is that possible?
Well, the British and the Americans are getting less and less happy with the Kagame regime in Rwanda. That regime has always been able to play the card of, you guys didn't help us out with the genocide in 1994, so there's a sort of element of moral guilt there, and Rwanda appears to be, to many donors, to be an efficient state, as it was in the 1990s under Habyarimana and the other regime. It's always seemed to be this efficient state that aid people really like. However, there is that the dangling sword of withdrawing aid, and the British and the Americans have talked about this in many ways. So if that's real, that could be used as a stick. And the carrots are, of course, let's have peace and harmony in this region. And I guess a lot of, the UN has been there for an awful long time with under two different regimes, MONUC and MONUSC. And it seems quite ineffective, actually. This discourse of responsibility to protect and so on seems like so much hot air when we actually see what the UN has done in the Congo, right up from the time of Lumumba till now. So we have a sort of war by report, that the UN, writes a report against Rwanda here and there. So it's a delicate situation, always has been, and I think a lot of it depends on people at the grassroots, not really hanging on to the words of these military leaders who come in, but actually getting something going from the ground. And of course, people want peace and security on both sides of the border.